All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show tonight. This is David McQuell. I'm glad to be here tonight. Thank you so very much for tuning in. We're back with another edition of Global Impact tonight. We will be looking again at lasting nation building, focus on Africa. However, we cover materials from all over the world and look at other examples how strong nations, first nations, how did they come to be what they are? And that's what we're looking at. So I'll be right back after this. All right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you very well for tuning into Global Impact. I'm David McQuell, your host, as usual. Today we are having a great time, and we're going to be having a great show again, looking at the foundations, really, where we have been. Every nation should be deliberately built. Unfortunately, it's not always like that. Lots of countries, especially in Africa, we are not deliberately built. They just came to be, you know. In Africa, first we had pre-colonial times. We had kingdoms, kingdom nations, you know, nations that were ethnic, you know, and how those nations grew. We're going to look at a video, PragerU video today, and we're going to. We're going to look at, you know, the American experience, which is probably the best experience, along with Israel, because and to some extent Japan too. Japan, after the Second World War, they decided to build a nation that they will be proud of, that will be lasting and will be different. And I think they are a good example too. But the best example we have is America. The modern nation of Israel is a great nation, you know. Every nation should be deliberately built. The founders, the people who found the nation, should deliberately plan how they want the nation to be. Our nations in Africa, pre-colonial times, like I said, we are just kingdoms ruled by chiefs and kings. However, those kingdoms and they were ruled by kings and chiefs were what you could call accidental system of government. They were not planned. They were monarchs, and whoever is stronger, in many cases, they were by inheritance. So they were hereditary monarchs. In others, it was by conquest. Whoever conquers whoever kills who, takes over the kingdom. But when the colonial times came, the colonial masters began to explore Africa and try to win over tribes and ethnic groups one by one. Almost all the countries in Africa except Ethiopia was colonized. The Italians tried to take Ethiopia and couldn't succeed. So Ethiopia stood out alone as the only nation in Africa that was not colonized. Now, having said that, later on, the colonial masters, towards the end of colonialism, actually what they did was just on their own, you know, drew maps in between themselves. For example, the French and the British would sit down together and draw a map, a line, dividing line between nations. They created nations from nowhere, and based on their own interest. The African nations, the people of Africa, had no say in those maps. In fact, those maps were drawn in Europe for Africa. The boundaries were set in Europe, not in Africa. And Africans had no input in it. You can see the reason, one of the biggest reasons why Africa has not made any progress, because those boundaries are basically pro-European. They serve the purpose of the Europeans only and not the purpose of the Africans. And it is really, really difficult. And many people don't understand why Africa is down. That's one of the major reasons why Africa is down. They brought together people with different cultures, people that will not understand each other, and then they gave authority to the dominant tribes. And the dominant tribes, for example, in Nigeria, the Hausas, at that time, and the Yorubas were the dominant tribes. However, the Hausas submitted to the British completely. So that was British interest. It was better protected by the Hausas, by the Hausa Fulanis. So the British left and told the Hausa Fulanis that we trust you and we are relying on you to carry Nigeria and to hold Nigeria. In one way, you are basically saying, hey, listen, the rest of the people have no say. You have the say. That is how Britain set Nigeria up to fail. Now, so that is one of the reasons. And you go to the Ivory Coast, is the same thing. You go to Ghana, is the same thing. You go to Zambia, is the same thing. You go to South Africa, that recently just got independence, the same thing. Same thing happened in Sudan. Something happened in Senegal and all the other countries. Dominant ethnic groups were given authority and they decided what happened. Well, others just watch. That is why it's impossible for a minority in Nigeria to come into power. That's one of the reasons why the Igbos have not been able to rule. That's actually one of the reasons. And also, all other minority tribes, I don't care how smart you are, I don't care how great your vision is, you will never get to sit on in the presidency and govern Nigeria. The same thing with Ghana. You have dominant tribes, and the politics is based on those dominant tribes. The same thing with Togo. That's why the family of Iyadema has basically become like a monarchy in Togo, and they dominate politics, and it will basically be impossible for anybody else to rule. Same thing happens in Liberia, same thing is happening in Sierra Leone, same thing happens in many countries, you know, in Africa, in Mali, you can see all crises all over. And people just sit down and think, and people just sit down and talk as if Africans don't want peace. Africans don't like progress. When you put together, for example, oh, my internet connection is really faulty today. Father Lord, I thank you. Right, so if you put dominant tribes together and said, okay, we want you to live together, and the dominant tribes or the ethnic groups that are dominant, who have the largest, if you put dominant and minority tribes together and say you must share country together, you must live together, then the dominant tribes will dominate on the other ones, and the minority will have no say. That's exactly what's happening in most countries in Africa. Many people think that Africans don't like progress, but it is just impossible to make progress when the dominant tribes don't consider the minorities, the interests of the minorities. And you see, so the colonizers set up Africa to fail. You see the same thing happen in Angola, where there was a civil war for over 30 years. Same thing happened in Sudan, that eventually led to the creation of the South Sudan after the death of so many people, millions of people. And you can see it happening everywhere. So that's the problem. That's the problem that Africa has been facing, you know. And, you know, and then, so because of that, it becomes really difficult, you know. So that's one of the problems that Africa is having, or that Africa is not able to really rise up. So nations were created against their wish and against their understanding. The people who don't understand each other, I'll give you an example with Nigeria. The Hausa Fulanis, especially the Fulanis, believed that they should be there. And they are just about, probably about 5 million people. Yet they believe that they should rule Nigeria. Nigeria is 200 million people because the British left the rulership in their hands. These people believe in conquest. They believe that Nigeria belongs to them. They believe that they can go and slaughter Nigerians. I mean, hold a human being and slaughter him. And they've been going from village to village in the Christian Central and slaughtering people. They have had placed bombs in churches and markets. They attack markets and so on and so forth. And so, because that's what they believe. They believe that the country belongs to them and that it is their heritage and they have the authority and the power to rule and to govern. Now, so if you have that situation on ground, it is absolutely difficult for anybody to be able to set this nation aright, to do the things that needs to be done, you know. And so, I'll be back after this break and we will look further into this subject carefully. You need to understand that is really basically the problem. So if Africa is ever going to make any progress, we must sit down and reorganize ourselves and renegotiate our state together. Every country in Africa got to get to that place where we sit down, renegotiate our living together, and look at how minorities can have equal say. You know, just like the American founding fathers sat down and negotiated their state together and looked for a system that will work for everyone so that everyone will be equally represented, everyone will have equal opportunities, equal access to the resources of state, and how the structures of state like justice, like defense, will favor everyone equally without favoritism. So that's really very, very important. As long as Africa cannot get to do that, then it will practically be impossible for Africa to ever rise. I mean, when I say Africa, I mean every single nation independently in Africa got to get to that place where they find an agreeable system by all that protects all, defends all, and provides for all. That's really important. Unless we do that, well, we will just be playing games and people will be suffering. I'll be right back.
Global Impact at TC. Oh my word! On Global Impact at CTCN with David McQuell on Global Impact TEC ECNTV.com.
Yeah.
And with David McQuell on Global Impact at TECNTV.com.
TECNTV.com.
Everything that's reported on television isn't always true, but it should be. NTD, the power of truth. Now available 24/7 on television and streaming platforms.
All right, welcome back. Thank you so very much for tuning in, and thank you for paying attention and sharing this great moment with us. We appreciate that. Thank you, our friends. Thank you, our viewers. Thank you, our new viewers and our old viewers. We really appreciate you. You can drop us a message. We would really love to hear from you, and if we hear from you, it does us really good. Thank you for your criticism. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your donations. We really appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Right, so we are back to the show. So we're talking about lasting nation building. I love the speech, I think the first address of President Donald Trump to the United Nations in 2017. I think 2017, 2018, 2017. It was incredible. That speech was, I mean, it was powerful. President Trump went back to the founders, sort of, American founders, and then also tried to explain that all the things that America has done that make the nation prosper and boom, it's not just unique to America or exceptional to America. If any nation will, carry the same values, bring those same values to their nation and practice them, care for their people enough, love their people enough, and work hard, to improve the lives of their people. And he said every nation will prosper. I thought that everybody in the United Nations should be very happy when he heard that. However, some people were not really happy. Some people didn't really care. But I really cared. I listened, I watched that over and over and over and over, and it's one of the best speeches that I've ever seen in the United Nations. And I take it pretty seriously. So my point is this. A good nation is a nation that the founders sit down and decide, or rather the people of the nation. I think in the case of America, they had representatives selected by the people. So you could say it was the people that sat down together and crafted the nation. They crafted the United States of America. They decided, they explored, they thought, they looked into every area and every angle and everything, looked to the past, looked to the present, and then tried to craft the future. They tried to craft the future, craft a nation that will care for the people. For the first time, you had people who are going to find a nation whose idea was, how do we protect the right, the God-given right of every individual? And I wish that any nation will come to that place where we could do that. If we can do that, it will be incredible. Any nation in Africa, or in Asia, or in Europe, or anywhere in the world, any nation that will sit down and say, hey, let's look into our state. Let's find ways in which we can protect everyone, protect the natural, God-given rights of everyone, protect the happiness and the liberty of everyone. I think that nation will do exceptionally well. Now, so we'll look at this video. A 5-part series. Of course, we're not looking at that altogether. The Making America, which was narrated, or rather crafted, scripted by Dinesh D'Souza. It's incredible, and I'll be back after this first session.
For most of human history, wealth was presumed to be finite. Consider a boy on a playground with 10 marbles. How can he get more? There is only one possibility. He has to take someone else's marbles. Until relatively recently, wealth was mostly in land, and the only way to get more land was to take it. Conquest was the natural mode of human acquisition. And that's how most countries evolved and grew, through force and conquest. The American Revolution was motivated in large part by resistance to this old way of doing things. To put it mildly, the colonists didn't like the idea that the English crown could take their money or property without their consent. No taxation without representation, they protested. Still, the control of money and property was only part of the picture. The bigger challenge would be this: could the New World find a better alternative to the Old World's conquest and seizure model? Alexander Hamilton, the first treasurer of the United States, had the answer. Under his brilliant stewardship, the new nation developed a new concept of wealth creation, capitalism based on innovation, invention, and enterprise. And it would be available to every citizen from any background with the willingness to work for it. America could get more marbles without seizing anyone's marbles. We would just make new ones. True, later in America's history, the government seized Indian land, but that wasn't Hamilton's idea. And obviously there were inventors and merchants around before America. But America is the first society to be based on invention and trade. America, as Karl Marx later understood, is the capitalist society par excellence. Hamilton was the man who made it so. Indeed, Hamilton's own life reflected the upward mobility he wanted to be a defining characteristic of the new nation. Born on the small Caribbean island of Nevis, he was orphaned at 12. By 14, he was running a shipping company for a local merchant. At age 20, he made his way to New York. Soon thereafter, he fully embraced the revolutionary cause. By 23, he was George Washington's most trusted aide. At 34, he was running the U.S. Treasury, the largest department by far of the new government. In contrast to Hamilton, the other leading founders, Washington, Jefferson, Madison, were Virginia farmers. If it were up to them, America would have been set up as a network of farming communities, with towns conceived as places where agricultural produce was bought and sold. It was Hamilton who laid the groundwork for America to become a prosperous urban, industrial, commercial society. Hamilton envisioned America as a nation whose nuclei would be cities, centers of vigorous invention, innovation, and trade, with new types of people, entrepreneurs, mechanics, financiers, salesmen, and so on, all working to enjoy the pleasing reward of their toils. But how to create such a society? That was the question. How to make New York, which was then a modest town, into the New York City we know today, a flourishing center of finance, commerce, publishing, and the arts. Coming from the islands of the West Indies, where the buying and selling of human beings was the defining feature of the economic system, Hamilton well understood how easily the passion for conquest, control over other human beings could overwhelm man's better nature. Yes, slavery was a lamentable feature of the new country. The question for the pragmatic Hamilton was how to get rid of it. Not immediately, that was impossible, but eventually, inevitably. In his mind, there was only one way: make it as easy as possible for as many people as possible to become as prosperous as possible. This would happen through the myriad ways of commerce. A commerce of this sort, Hamilton knew, would require a strong central government, not to curb freedom, but to protect it. The elaborate system of rights and contracts on which capitalism is based require a government to be the neutral arbiter of the disputes that inevitably arise. A weak central government of the sort envisioned by Jefferson would not be up to that challenge. To say that these two intellectual giants butted heads over this question would be an understatement. Fortunately, Hamilton's vision prevailed. That vision included one more crucial component, one that is easily overlooked: patent protection for inventors and innovators. Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution gives Congress the power to promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries. No less a figure than Abraham Lincoln would note that this right, the only right listed in the original Constitution prior to the addition of the Bill of Rights, accelerated the economic development of the United States by adding the fuel of interest to the fire of genius in the discovery and production of new and useful things. It was no accident that within a matter of decades, the United States became the most prosperous nation in world history. It's no accident because Alexander Hamilton was there at the founding, the man who understood that thanks to capitalism, you don't have to take anyone else's marbles to get more marbles of your own. I'm Dinesh D'Souza for Prager University.
Awesome. That's incredible. That's, in a nutshell, that's one of the best videos I've ever watched. I mean, look at the idea behind the nation. The idea behind the nation was not of the United States. Of course, all scholars and historians agree that the United States has drifted away from its original founding. What is the original founding? And if America keeps going the way it's going, then it will self-destruct. But if it's going to be greater and greater, then it has to go back to this thought of Alexander Hamilton. Exactly. So the point is this. Even though this particular video focuses or shines light on Alexander Hamilton's contribution to the United States, yet it's not as if he was the only one, but the focus of this video is the role that he played Now, I love what Dinesh said. He talked about the upward mobility, which is reflected by the lives of Alexander Hamilton himself. This is a man who grew out of poverty, out of unfortunate circumstances. He was orphaned at the age of 12. In modern society today, anyone who is orphaned, for example in Africa, orphaned at the age of 12, you are practically rich enough. I mean, people with both parents alive, growing older, even people with hard-working parents who are civil servants, have no guarantee that their children will ever become anything in Africa. The conditions are against them. The politics is against them. The system against them. The system of the economy is against them. Everything is against them. And nothing gives them the guarantee that they can grow up and be in a better place. In fact, there are many people who have graduates from universities who don't have the hope that Hamilton had, even as an orphan. Why is it so? Because we haven't built any country, haven't built any foundation that will give people that upward mobility. You know, at the age of 14, he was running a shipping company. How on earth does a 14-year-old run a shipping company today? It is not even impossible. In fact, a 40-year-old first-degree holder, or first-class degree holder from a university cannot be assured of running a shipping company. Why? Either because he's not trusted, or because the system is led against him, or because he's a minority, or something. But you know, so why on earth did a shipping company give the management to a 14-year-old? And I tell you what it is. Because he had the skills for it. He had developed the skills for it. He didn't have university certificate for it, but he had the skills to run a company. And you know what? The company never went bankrupt. So there is a point there. And the point is very clear, that skills should be given opportunity. We need to build a country where everybody has the opportunity. Not everybody has the equal right. Because not everybody has the equal outcome. We should have equal rights. We should have equal opportunity. And if we have equal opportunity and equal right, that's good enough. That's good enough. We cannot always come at an equal end because we don't all put in the same amount of effort. So everyone who puts in a lot of effort should get a lot of progress. And anyone who puts in little effort should get little progress. But the system that we run today in Africa and in all third world countries, and even we have seen developed countries beginning to adopt them, is that people who work hard are being denied the opportunity and their reward. And people who do nothing through corrupt means, corrupt governments, corrupt authorities, they are pushed up and they earn what they never deserve. That's the problem. That's where the problem is. The problem is not the opportunity, it's not the outcome. The problem is the opportunities. If everybody is put on a level playing field and everybody starts from the same position and everyone fits the same condition, the same rain falls on everyone, the same sunshine falls on everyone, and the same shadow, the same night, and we all already have 24 hours per day. If everybody has equal opportunity, I tell you, more people will rise and every society will be developed. Every society will make great progress. I'll be right back after this break. Please don't go anywhere. This is really getting interesting.
Thank you. Hey, I'm Ken McClinton, the host of the Exceptional Conservative Show, live for the nation's capital. I love this cat, the Exceptional Conservative Show cat, Jacob. We love you, and we want you to know we love the fact that you watch TECNTV.com. As chairman, founder, and president, we wish you much love and much affection. I love you. I love you.
Hey, this is Pastor Greg right here watching TECNTV.com live and enjoying. You should join me here on ChildrenGenerationRadio.com, and also my other favorite thing, ministering the gospel in India.
Hi, I'm Bob Bob Record, and as you can see, I love hunting. And I also love watching TECNTV.com. Why don't you join me in doing that? But in the meantime, I'm headed back to the field. See you later.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Jones from Beyond the Lines, and when I'm not exploring Los Angeles, I am watching TECNTV.com. TECNTV.com. I love it.
I'm David McQuell. I'm the host of Global Impact on TECN. I'm a missionary in Abidjan, West Africa, working on establishing the largest history center. Whether I'm in the field or I'm working on history, I love TECN TV.
When I'm not making delicious cookies, I'm watching TECNTV.com.
Hi, I'm Randy, and I love the golf.
And I love TECNTV.com.
Okay, welcome back. Thank you so very much. It's interesting. Thank you so very much. Again, so we are looking at the upward mobility. Everyone in every society should enjoy that upward mobility, and the development and the progress of everyone collectively makes a nation progresses. But we cannot have that as long as the foundations of the nation are not well laid. We have to lay down great foundations, foundations that assure everyone of equal right, equal opportunity, and equal access to justice. Do you see that? However, if you look at every society that is not making any progress, this society does not have this. If you see any society that is corrupt, any nation that is struggling with corruption, it's because they have trampled with equal rights, equal opportunities, and equal justice. Especially when politicians favor others. They give justice to some people and deny others justice. They give rights to some people and deny some people rights. And they give opportunity to others and give no opportunity or less opportunity to others. Once there is that disparity, that is called injustice. There is no way that society will make progress because everything is grotesque. There is injustice. And injustice is the biggest enemy of progress and prosperity. Therefore, the society needs well laid down infrastructures, or structures rather, I would like to say that, structures that guarantee everyone will have justice and will get the justice he deserves when he feels ill-treated. Now, so we see that as one of the biggest problems in every corrupt society. Every society that is failing, it's because someone is not getting justice. Someone who is innocent is condemned, and the guilty is rewarded. In that kind of society, I tell you, God is not pleased. Not only that, that society cannot just function well. The best way that the society can be healthy is when there is justice. When someone works hard and earns the reward of his hard work. When someone gets a property and his property is protected. Nobody infringes on his property. Nobody intrudes of his property. And nobody harasses him or molests him because of his property. That's justice. Nothing makes a society progress like that. We need to have equal opportunity. The opportunity I'm talking about is not just opportunity to power. Because many people, when you talk about opportunity, they are thinking of opportunity to position of power. There are many of us who are not interested in running for office, right? Many people. But then, you need opportunity to live your life, to live freely, to enjoy your life, to pursue the dreams in your heart, to pursue the drive in you. You want to be who you want to be. You want to enjoy life as you should be. You want to grow in good health and alive especially. You want to be alive. You want to grow in good health. You want to grow your family, have a family, see your children grow up and see your grandchildren at peace. It is absolutely important. Once these things are denied others in society, then that's where problem comes in. And society will absolutely not function well. It's like a car. If you buy a car, for example, and your car is having problems, and let's say your car is a Toyota car, and then you go to the Ford salesman where they are selling the spare parts, and you buy the spare part of a Ford car, which looks like that particular part looks like the Toyota, and you bring it to the Toyota car, it's not going to fit. In fact, if you force it to fit in, it will not function well. The car will break down. In the same way, once people are deprived justice, something else replaces justice, because there's no vacuum in nature, So, in fact, the thing that denies people of justice is tyranny. Once tyrannical policies are put in place and they deny people of justice, society fails to operate the way it is. So, if we want to build lasting society, there should be free societies. And in order to have free society, we need equal justice. That is justice for everyone. Equality before the law. Not that the law favors somebody at the expense of another person. That's justice. You have justice for everyone. Everyone enjoys justice. In the same way, we have equality of rights. And your right ends where my right begins. Not that there are sacred cows. No, that everybody is sacred. Everybody is important. The baby in the womb and the old man who is on his last day on the bed. Everyone should enjoy the right to be happy and to live their lives and to be who and what they want to be. The child that is in the village and the child that is in the city, the farmer's son and the son of the politician, everyone should enjoy equal right and equal opportunity. If a farmer in the village, if a farmer's son wants to be a doctor, he should have the opportunity if his father can afford it, right? In the same way, if a carpenter's son wants to be an engineer, then if he has his parents have the opportunity to sponsor him, let him have the opportunity to go to school. Not that there are some Ivy League schools, some special schools for some special people. No, everybody should have equal opportunity. If you can get the required grades, if you can get the grades that is required to go into any university, you should not need some special access. You should not have to know somebody in order to get access to those colleges. Everyone should have free opportunity, equal justice. The police should be assured that everybody enjoys his rights. Everybody is protected. Everybody enjoys security. That is the kind of society that is lasting. That is not what we have in Africa. I always refer to Africa because I know Africa very well. One of the things that surprises me, earlier in the year 2020, I arrived in the United States on my first visit. I got to the United States on the 22nd, I think on the 22nd. My flight departed Ivory Coast on the 21st. That was in the night, and I got to the United States in the morning at daybreak at I think something around 7 a.m. Now, you will not believe that, or you will find it hard to believe that I arrived in the United States on the 22nd. On the 23rd, I was standing in front of the White House. That's where the President of the United States lives. Now, I am born and raised in Africa, and I've lived in 3 nations for a long period of time. I was born in Nigeria, and I was in Nigeria until I was 24 years when I went to the mission field. And I lived in Ghana for about 14 years, because my family was still there. And finally, we left in 14 years in Ghana, and I have lived in Ivory Coast getting close to 20 years now. And in all these countries that I live, I never got access to come near anywhere near 5 kilometers to the presidency. And people have no access to the presidency. Everything is shrouded in mystery. There is something mysterious about where the presidents live. And people don't have access to that. In fact, you will be arrested. It will be trespassing to come anywhere near that. However, I was wondering, I said, what on earth? How would I leave Africa and come to the United States, and in less than 24 hours, thereabout, I was already, that's more than 24 hours. I got there 22nd, 7 a.m. And so let's say in about 30 hours, I was standing in front of the White House, the presidency of the United States. And I stood there and I couldn't believe it. I had to pinch myself a few times and say, are you kidding me? It was an awe. I mean, and then it came to my heart that this is why they call it the free world. It is the free world. And Africa is not a free world, because you are not free to know where your president lives. Everything is mysterious about him. You know, and that's the reason why things keep going bad, and we are never ever going to rise. Also, that kind of protection is what makes people kill, and they don't care what they do to get there, because you are treated like a god. You are treated like you are no longer a human being who goes to the loo, you know, and that's terrible. So, you know, and that really taught, you know, that was absolutely life transforming. It will shock. I mean, if you are from the United States, if you are born in the United States, I mean, that's nothing special. But to someone who has lived his life in Africa and seen nothing but tyranny, that's amazing. Not only was I standing in front of the White House, I could actually right there, even as a foreigner, say what I wanted to say. And I could see people there from different backgrounds, different states of the United States, and even people from other countries who were standing in front of the White House and protesting. They were airing their views. They were saying anything they want to say. They could insult the president. They could even draw terrible cartoons of the president. It is all covered as free speech. People have a right to express their anger as long as they are not violent, hurting anybody physically. They can say what they want to say. They can air their pain, say how they feel. It's incredible. You know what? That's really important. That's rights. That's what we call rights. It is their right to say what they want to say how they truly feel. And they should ask for a redress to their grievance. That's the structure of a free society. That's the structure of a society that can make progress. Well, in Africa, if you speak against the president, you can be whisked away. You will never be heard for the rest of your life. Nobody will see you. Nobody will hear you. And that's what happens in many countries in Africa. I remember, I think in 2015, when Muhammadu Buhari became the president of Nigeria, I remember a man bought a dog and gave the dog the name Buhari, and the man was arrested. That is stupid. That's absolutely ridiculous. Just because a man names his dog in the name of the president and he's arrested for what? After all, the president is not the only Buhari alive in Nigeria. But we don't understand that. All we understand is power. Treat the president like some god. And anybody who speaks against the president should be locked up or killed. That's a society that cannot make progress. I'll be right back after this break. Please, don't go anywhere.
Hi, I'm Pastor Greg, host of the Chosen Generation Radio Show, heard on the Truth Broadcasting Network and seen on TECNTV.com Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern, where I discuss today's most important issues through a biblical constitutional lens. TECNTV.com appreciates our partnership with NTD, and we'd love for you to give our great programming a view. That's TECNTV.com, Chosen Generation Radio with Pastor Greg. God bless you, and God bless America.
Dreams are potential seeds. They need someone to believe in them. They need someone to finance them. And they need someone to embrace them. Partner today with the World Mission Center, Abidjan, the Ivory Coast, and help us win Africa for Christ. Okay, welcome back to the show. I'm glad and thank you so very much for hanging in there. Thank you. Please, would like to hear from you. TCN TV is a great TV station and we really enjoy what we do. I'm the host of Global Impact, and when I'm not watching TCN, I enjoy NTD. NTD is a great partner of TCN TV. So join them and enjoy their show too. Welcome back. So we go back to what we are talking about, the basic foundations of a long-lasting nation. It is, there must be rights for all, natural rights from God, actually, really. And those rights should be protected. The reason why the state exists, as the founding fathers did, was to ensure that everyone's natural rights were protected and that they have a protection both from external aggression and internal conflicts. Now that was purely unique. Never has it happened anywhere at any time that anyone thought of that kind of a thing. And it was a new invention. And the founders of America weren't sure how it's going to work, but they really intended that it should work. And they put in every effort. They prayed about it, they thought about it, they argued about it, they disagreed about it, and eventually they succeeded. And today the United States is standing as the most enviable nation on earth. And this is it. So why would you stop, why won't you just stop envying the United States and build your own nation that way? And that's the good question. That's a good question. Well, we're going to go back to PragerU video and continue with Dinesh, the second part of this video we're watching. And I just trust that you will enjoy it. Please don't go away. Hang in there. Take some notes. Even if you're in the United States, and many people don't know these things. Many people have never heard, and many people have forgotten. So, enjoy the show.
Self-made men existed before America, but they were rare. After the American Revolution, they became much more common. They came from everywhere. They are still coming. Benjamin Franklin was and remains the prototype. One of his recent biographers, Walter Isaacson, put it this way: he was the most accomplished American of his age and the most influential in inventing the type of society America would become. Franklin's life, no less than his ideas, conveyed the indomitable spirit of both invention and, just as important, self-invention that define Americans and make them almost instantly distinguishable even today by people around the world. Born in Boston in 1705, the youngest son in a family of 17 children, Franklin was at various times America's leading scientist, inventor, diplomat, writer, and publisher. It's hard to imagine one person could accomplish so much in one life. He conducted early experiments in electricity, devised bifocal glasses, designed a new type of stove, organized lending libraries, formed Philadelphia's first fire department, and founded the college that became the University of Pennsylvania. His own formal education was 2 years of high school. His informal education, what he taught himself and learned from others, never ended. His Poor Richard's Almanac, which dispensed practical daily wisdom and wisecracks in equal measure, was the most popular publication of its day. If there was something important going on, Franklin was in the middle of it. He was the guiding spirit of the American founding. He desperately tried to keep America out of a war with Britain, offering the British government every kind of compromise to avoid the conflict. But when his efforts were rejected and he realized separation from the mother country was inevitable, he threw his heart and soul into the revolutionary cause, the struggle for independence. As the American envoy in France during the war, he was more responsible than any other person in bringing the French to the American side. Without this alliance, it's unlikely the rebels would have won. It's more likely, in fact, that they would have lost, and all the founders, including Franklin, would have been tried, convicted, and executed as traitors to the British crown. When the new country won its freedom, Franklin, then in his 8th decade and near the end of his life, was again on center stage, helping to guide the quarreling delegates toward a new constitution, a novus ordo seclorum, a new order for the ages, he called it. At a low point in the great Philadelphia debate over the nation's founding document, when everyone, including Washington, was willing to give it up as a bad job, Franklin single-handedly saved the enterprise and revived the spirits of the delegates by summoning them to an inspirational prayer. And it was Franklin who summed up the event for posterity. When asked what kind of government the convention had created, he quipped, "A republic, if you can keep it." Franklin viewed America itself as a great invention, a new kind of nation for a new kind of man. Even so, Isaacson concludes, the most interesting thing that Franklin invented and continually reinvented was himself. His brilliant autobiography reveals a polymath who was endlessly curious and endlessly and pleasantly surprised by life. He was also never quite satisfied in a way that is, again, quintessentially American. He sought to make it, whatever it was he was working on, better. So he saw construction workers with axes building a fort and timed them to see how long it took, inquired into the art by which native Indians conceal their fires, conducted experiments and published his observations on electricity. Franklin took this curiosity and turned it on himself. He viewed his own life not simply as a story of change, but rather as a continuing quest for self-improvement. He describes in his autobiography how he made a list of what he termed the 7 virtues, temperance, industry, sincerity, and so on, and then enumerated them in a single column down the left-hand side of a page. At the top, he listed the 7 days of the week. His plan was to take the first virtue and practice it for 1 week straight. He noted his progress each day with a check mark. If he could practice a virtue for 7 days without a lapse, he reasoned he would internalize it. It would become part of his character. And as his life suggests, it worked. This wise, self-deprecating, life-loving man was an American original, and yet he was also the progenitor of an American type, one who follows his own path. Benjamin Franklin types from all over the world came in droves to America because this was the place where they could best pursue their passion. In America, class didn't matter, country of origin didn't matter, level of education didn't matter. All that mattered was talent, hard work, and luck. In America, you could make of yourself what you will, and you still can, just as Benjamin Franklin did. He is the original embodiment of the American idea of the self-directed life, an idea that still defines the American experience. I'm Dinesh D'Souza for Prager University.
Thank you so very much, Dinesh. Thank you, PragerU. What are we to say? What on earth can we add to this incredible facts that this video brings out for us today? Benjamin Franklin. You know, the founders did not just establish a society with rights for all, with also opportunities for all, and with protection of natural rights and justice for all. Besides that, they created a place where everybody can pursue his dream. Now you look at a great example where in America, like Dinesh said, your education does not matter, your place of origin does not matter, you know, and your qualification does not matter. Now, these are the things that actually in third world countries they are pursuing. What's your education? Where's your place of origin? You know, what have you achieved? What's your title? Who do you know? These things can never build a nation. Throw the gates open. Give everyone freedom, free opportunity, everyone, and then appreciate everyone. Everyone who will contribute your talent, your abilities, your skill, your hard work, you know, put it down there. Develop yourself, and then develop society. If you have a dream, we want to see it come into fruition, because when your dreams happen, they create opportunities for others. That's what America is all about. Unfortunately, almost every country that is not America is the opposite of America. And yet we wonder why the United States makes progress. We wonder why the United States succeeds. We wonder why the United States keeps, you know, getting bigger and better every day. And Benjamin Franklin, it was said of him that he was a man that kept reinventing himself, became curious, kept improving himself. But the opportunity was there for him, and that's what everybody needs. Just an opportunity. If I have a dream, can I realize it where I am? Ask yourself, if you're a leader of a country, ask yourself, all of us should ask ourselves, from whatever nation you are, hey, if people have dreams in my nation, can they realize it? What is the reason why they can't realize it? That thing that makes it impossible for them to realize their dreams is a bad thing, and the nation can never make progress. Thank you very much for tuning in today. We really appreciate you, and we thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching us. And if you have anything, you know, to give to us, to say to us, to ask us, you can just drop it. Our email is there scrolling on the screen, jimpact2018@gmail.com. Thank you. God bless you. I'll be right back tomorrow with another edition of this same topic. God bless you.